and Inwood's very own Martin Collins, who has a very special statement to share with us tonight. Martin, you're up.
Thanks, Neria, and welcome everyone. We have as our sponsor tonight, Evident Dentistry, and they're located at 29 Cooper Street between Academy and West 204th Street. Evident is open, but only for dental emergencies at this time. And their motto is, when it comes to your smile, the standard is evident. And for the full line of services Evident Dentistry offers, please check out their website, evident.com. And since Evident first opened, they have supported scores of neighborhood events, programs, schools, the Medieval Festival at Fort Tryon Park, and the annual Uptown Art Stroll with full-page ads like this in last year's guide, which reads, "Thanks to NoMA, finding the arts in Northern Manhattan is a walk in the park." And we are very, very grateful to, and we thank Evident Dentistry for sponsoring tonight's Stay Home Open Studios tour with Uniqua Simmons. Neria?
Thank you so much, Martin, and thank you so much to Evident for your support. And thank you all for being here tonight for our 4th virtual open studio. I am truly enjoying these fixed Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. art dates with all of you. And it's nice to see so many of you returning for these dates, and also to all of the new visitors. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Neria Leyva Gutierrez, and I am Acting Executive Director of the Northern Manhattan Arts Alliance. And before I introduce our wonderful artist who will take us through her process and vision tonight, I wanted to mention that our program is also supported in part by public funds from the New York City Department of Cultural Affairs in partnership with the City Council, as well as from Council Member Mark Levine and the West Harlem Development Corporation. We can't stress enough how important these funds are to us right now and how grateful we are for them. NoMA, and I've said this before and it bears repeating, is here for all of you, and we really want to continue to be. We also want you to reach out to us so that we can continue offering programs that enrich, engage, and uplift. And so to that point, we'd like to remind you also to please answer our poll, which will pop up on your screens at the end of this evening. And I should say sometimes the poll works, usually when we're testing it. And sometimes it doesn't. But either way, Michelle will include the link in the chat, and we would be so grateful if you could take a second to fill it out. Also, please sign up for our weekly newsletter, e-blasts. They are published on Tuesdays, where we detail what we are up to and what our local arts and culture partners also have in the proverbial mix. Okay. Now we turn to the reason we are here, Uniqua Simmons, and I can
Hello, everyone.
Hello. Born and raised in Harlem, is a self-taught visual and jewelry artist, a performance artist, and a fitness practitioner. For over 20 years, she has dedicated herself to both creating and teaching art, dance, and fitness to all ages and to all abilities. In reminiscing about her past, she talks about how as a child she was always drawing and playing with fabric. But by the time she was 18, she found herself an apprentice optician on the road to becoming a certified ophthalmic dispenser. It was also around this time that she realized that though she loved her work, she really yearned to satisfy and fulfill her creative side. And so thankfully, for the last 20 years, through her multidisciplinary art, she has steadily focused on issues of mental health, diversity, community, mindfulness, differences, and healing. In her practice, Uniqua uses recycled materials to create and to teach. And she fundamentally believes that everybody can make art, or can art, as she says, a mantra that has transformed into the creation of My Art M.A.D.N.E.S.S, Madness, or My Art Making Art Diverse, Necessary, Educational, Sustainable, Selfless. On the other hand, and also, Uniqua has combined her passion for dance and fitness, creating Afro jazz, Afya in Swahili meaning health, strength, vigor, and well-being. And we'll get to see some of that tonight as well. She has exhibited and held workshops at El Barrio Art Space 109, Sisters Uptown Bookstore, NoMA, Central Park Arsenal Gallery, and the YMCA. Her mantra, which I think we will all see lived out tonight, is each one, teach one, to teach one through arts and education. I am so pleased tonight to welcome Uniqua Simmons. Uniqua?
Hello, hello. Thank you for having me.
Howdy.
So are you going to show the videos first, or you want me to speak?
Just say, you know, hello and then describe what you do and introduce the video if you would.
Oh, okay. So again, my name is Uniqua Simmons. I am a self-taught visual artist, performance artist, and fitness practitioner. So behind me here, I have some of my work up. These are some of the things that I believe in, sharing my art and doing my art for healing and peace. Some of these pieces are in reference to diversity. And I actually believe diversity is what makes the world go round. Differences in cultures, differences in foods. So I will be talking about my no-sew quilts, which I will be seeing going globally as art. And also we have art in the background here called In the Womb, which also describes and speaks about diversity. I also create art that has no gender and no race. And some of the work that's in the back there. So,
okay, let's take the tour. Let me start this, and thank you, Uniqua. We're going to do a little virtual.
You'll see a lot of the work in the slideshow tour that you're going to show right now.
So, okay.
Hi, my name is Uniqua Simmons. I am a self-taught visual and performance artist and certified fitness practitioner. My work that I'm talking about today is celebrating our unique differences and how we are wonderfully made. This body of work is created from recycled materials, being wonderfully made in the womb. These pieces here are made of fabric. The process a lot of times starts with the materials, the recycled materials. This piece here is about 30, 40 in size, and it started out with recycled materials and building it into creating muses. Intuition speaks. Again, these are fabric pieces and paper to actually tell the story of inspiration of these pieces here, of the diversity. This piece here has no gender, race. I always believe in coming as you are, working with collages to put things together. Raising Vibrations is a body of work with fabric and dyed indigo fabric here that I used to include in my other bodies of work, manipulating images with the fabric. I take strips of fabric and put it together, resize it. And to make another image out of it, to create another piece of artwork.
Oh, wow. What's happening there?
And these pieces were created, recycled materials in this piece here to create another piece. I use these colors here because I believe raising vibrations has a lot to do with how one's energy is. Hashtag no fear. This was made in the beginning of COVID-19. Engage in communities. I created My Art M.A.D.N.E.S.S out of a desire to know that anybody can art. A lot of my work is in the communities, engaged in communities. I believe that anyone can art, whatever your difference is, whomever you are, whatever your age is. The fabric here to create quilts is something that I seem to do globally. I love working in my studio and creating community quilts with the community. It's a way of bringing communities together and engagement. Mindfulness art comes from having a will to just start to create, no matter where you are, what your age is. And that's a lot of the foundations that I go on. I continue to create and do quilts. Everyone has a process. Everyone has something they can share.
Mm.
Uniqua, feel free to tell us what we're looking at here.
Okay, so I see the video is going a little slow. This is an excerpt from When Words Are Not Enough. So right here, this, the dancer that just walked up was doing a spoken word in reference to when words are not enough, how do we communicate? How do we say how we feel? How do we move the way that we feel? Each dancer here is going through a medium. This dance is also called the prayer. And as each dancer is moving, each dancer is symbolizing and demonstrating how one would communicate. I had one dancer who actually incorporated her own choreography step, which was a roll. And in that rolling from one end to the other, it was as if sometimes we have to roll through something to get through something. And as you see, as the fabric is moving, the fabric is also giving a form of vibration. It's white, but I had the intentions of dyeing it with some color to include the colors for vibration. This dancer here, and again, I used dancers from different ages and different ethnicities. The youngest being someone who's actually graduated from college to a senior citizen, and that's, I'd say active older adult that's in here. So they're going through a medium here, and towards the end of this excerpt, the dancers come together to go into another piece of When Words Are Not Enough. This was with the High Ground Festival, June 2019. I also collaborated with a wonderful composer, Daniel Zemberg. This was done to live music. We had cellos, violins, percussion. I also want to thank Jerice, who's an Uptown artist who did the percussion in this piece also. So again, this was an excerpt. It's about 20 minutes long. This piece here is about six minutes long. As the arms go up, the dancers are going into their own individual prayer mode and what it means to them and what they're expressing here. when words are not enough, how do we communicate? How do we get through the rough? How do we get through the tough? I'm actually reciting some of the spoken word that I actually created for this piece. How do we respond to one another when words are not enough? I thought this was also an appropriate piece to share because when this whole thing with COVID-19 came, there was a lot of fear, there was a lot of worry, but there was also a lot of hope. There was also a lot of people talking about strategizing and changing the norm, changing their normal. Do they want to go back to the old norm? That's the composer there with the live musicians. I'm sitting there trying to do percussion, a little bit of percussion. So as I was saying, in reference to the COVID-19 and choosing this piece over the other piece that I was going to do, I wanted to share some hope. I know a lot of people are struggling. A lot of people are figuring it out, but there's also, like I said, there's that hope. And that mantra that I like to say, each one teach one to reach one. I believe that we're all healers. We are all healers. And right here, the dancers come together. And they're actually hopping. They're actually coming together and they're hopping over. So this sort of symbolizes hopping over different things. Yeah, here we go there. Hopping over or hopping into. And if you want to see this video, you can see it on YouTube. You can check it out on YouTube. I want to give a shout out and a thank you to the dancers, to Bria, Monica, Julie, Wanda, Yaba, Emily, and Solange. Those are all the dancers there. And Marilyn. Mm-hmm. So now the dancers are going off and they're turning, and they're going to actually come into another part of the dance where it actually symbolizes, it's talking about strength, and it's talking about like a queen who's over her kingdom, the queen that's over her kingdom.
Uniqua, thank you. That was so beautiful to see. I'm so struck by the interdisciplinary aspect of your art and expression, and your inclusivity, and your optimism and your positive ideas that everyone can make art. And I think it's so interesting right now because, you know, we're all in isolation. And I think that those of us who look to art or look to creating something feel somewhat grounded by it, or, you know, that there's a sort of a channel there for whatever it is that we're feeling. So it's such a wonderful message, especially during this time where people are looking for something to hold on to and to grasp. I know you've been working on some projects now. I know you've been so maybe could you tell us a little bit about what those projects are like? And then I'd like to move on to other questions from all of you. So if you have questions, please feel free now, before Uniqua starts speaking, to put them into the chat, and we'll make sure that you have an opportunity to ask Uniqua your questions. But tell us a little bit about what you're doing now and how you're conveying this message really of hope during this period. How you are able, or how you're reaching out and what you're doing right now.
Okay, so I'm going to actually start with the quilts. I do what you call no-sew quilts. So these quilts are, each piece in the quilt is tied together. And the process is basically comes from the idea of tying together. And again, it symbolizes diversity. And in each square, sometimes I would have, in the big square, I would have a family work on it. If I'm going into the community and sharing this, I would have about 6 or 7 families or whomever work on a piece. And then they would come together and they would tie it together. This is one of the quilts that I'm working on now. And I actually just recently finished this one. I guess this one is about 8 feet tall, and it's not as wide because I'm going to actually finish this. What I'm starting now is to do public art. I would like to take this and do something outside. I actually was going to start this before COVID-19 and engage the public. This piece is actually going to represent something for mental health. So what each individual would do is come up with a word or a phrase of something that they feel helps them for mental health or something positive. And I would find some other fabric and put it on here and place it. And what I would like to do is display it outside somewhere, have permission to display it outside somewhere. I actually also see this going globally. Another one of my bodies of work that I'm doing is Wonderfully Made. I'm intrigued by how wonderfully made we are. There is a psalm, and I hope I'm quoting it right. Psalm 149, we are wonderfully made. I believe that I was an artist. It was innate, but I was an artist before I was in the womb. So even going in before the womb here, I have these pieces here in the womb just to celebrate our uniqueness. I was inspired by an artist. Her name is Maria Don Concielo, and she's a wearable art artist. One of my students had given me these books, and I happened to look in this book just when I was actually doing some other pieces about the womb, and she did something, and I don't even know if it looks maternal or not, but this is how I got inspired to create the maternal pieces with the fabric. I also looked up where she is. I think she's a senior now. She's probably in her 80s, but I would like to meet her one day and speak to her. My work process comes from meeting other people sometimes and hearing their stories.
Use based on strength.
I think we have some of those images that we can see. Michelle, do you have some of those slides that we can pull up that give a better view? There we go. Yeah. So Uniqua, I think you're muted. There you go. Okay.
This one is, these are called Wonderfully Made, and this is called Interdisciplinary. I chose this to paint this picture. This is actually a collage. So this is a collage of paper and acrylic. And I chose to paint this flower to symbolize how we're wonderfully made inside of the womb. I chose this because a flower is delicate. A flower is strong. A flower has many different aspects to it.
I think
I also create muses. I know the Greek mythology is, the myth is the 7 muses for the arts. However, I create my muses in an urban flavor, So the muses that I create are more, for instance, the one that you just showed, that's a mother. She's a mother of all. And you showed another one where there was black and gold. That is a muse of resources. So She's a mother of all. She's a mother of all.
Is this the one which is the one you're referring to?
Well, this picture you have up here with the top part there, these pieces here are actually it's recycled paper.
Mm.
And those are some of the components that I use to prepare for my work. I was going to do a demonstration with paint, but I'll just show you. So these are some of the components that I would use to put in my work, to cut up and use. And some paper bags, those recycled materials. You never want to have to paint on something. So
we have a question, actually, I think that's sort of apropos to what you're talking about with materials. Martin, you have a question specifically about the materials. Do you want to ask Uniqua your question?
Sure. Thanks, Uniqua, for your wonderful presentation this evening.
Thank you.
On with respects to the quilts that you showed us, what is the most challenging part of selecting materials for use based on strength, color, texture, balance, size, and other characteristics?
Okay, so some of my challenges when I'm going to pick out fabric, I need to get fabric that has a strong color in it, that doesn't have streaks in it. I use industrial textiles and also batik. So there's a mixture there. Also, with the materials, they need to withstand the weather. And I'm thinking about, taking this out into the parks and demonstrating it there. Some of the other challenges with the fabric would be in the texture, how thin it is, how thick it is. The way it's applied on there is with an adhesive, so that also helps to protect the fabric itself.
Those are great.
Yeah, and that's a picture of it from top to bottom.
I think we have another question tonight from James. James, are you there?
Yes.
Would you like to ask your question?
Yeah, I'm one of my favorite artists is the African artist El-Ansui. I wonder if, the found material that he uses and the colors and the glittery mosaic-like, I wonder if he was an influence on you, if you know him.
I know, well, one of the collage, not him, but one of the collage artists, Bearden, and also, believe it or not, Alexander Calder. I know he does mobiles and things like that, but he's an influence. I don't have any of the work there, but I do kinetic art also. And that's where some of my influences came from.
Mm-hmm.
I had another question. I was so interested in reading your bio of sort of, this kind of epiphany you had when you were sort of 18. You were sort of on one track, and then you sort of, were compelled to move into the arts and not just, sort of using your hands, but also performance art and dance and fitness. How did you get on that trajectory? What was that experience like for you?
Well, when I was younger, my sister, she was the dancer in the family, and she went to Dance Theater of Harlem, and she trained there, and I was the artist. And I think that had some influence on it also. Yes, when I was about 18, I was blessed to have a skill. I was an apprentice optician, and then an optical technician, the one that makes the lenses in your glasses. So that's another skill of working with my hand. In reference to the combination with, the reason why I left school, honestly, is because I couldn't get the math. And so my professor said, this may not be for everyone. And then I left, but I still had a love for the optical field. The dance came in with the fitness. I went into the gyms, and at that time they were doing almost like the Jane Fonda kind of thing, and I wanted to do something different. And I was a certified fitness practitioner, and I know that when you go in and you audition, they have this thing where they check to see how many times you're on the right foot, you're on the left foot, you know, are you following the rules of the certification? And that's where, at that time it was called Afro Jazz. And that's when that bloomed and started. And I was in the theater and making dances. I was creating dances, and it just took off from there. It took off from there.
That's so interesting. So do you find sort of with, you work with so many different populations. So how does that, do you find that the populations you work with are also sort of moved both to movement and also to working with their hands, or how do you incorporate both of those things in the work that you do?
So I actually started teaching in the senior centers. That's the first time I started teaching. So to me, it all works together. It all works together. I know there were times I was doing art, and then I was asked, can you please teach some movement? So I would combine the movement. We would do the movement, and then after the movement, I would say, so how can we express how we feel today? How can we use words and pictures? And we would put it in. I have some samples here. So it wouldn't be big pieces of art, but we would construct books, make accordion. I would teach them how to make accordion books. This is actually another body of work that will become sculpture books. But this is the one thing that I'm famous for, and helping someone to just, because not everybody paints, not everybody draws, but to have something down on paper and just cut something out and just paste it and say, you know, put a flower and say, okay, that represents I'm happy or I'm going to the store. That's something that they can do. So I enjoy putting art on anything. Everything is like a canvas. Everything is like a canvas.
Those are great. How many of those books I mean, those are from those are samples that you've collected over time from your
These are actually
students?
Some of the samples that I have made.
I see.
Made from recycled materials. The cover is made from recycled boxes. These are the paper bags that was painted. Inside is new materials and recycled materials. I did have some books, they are at some of the centers that are closed. Some of my work are at the centers that are closed right now, but in any event, these are the samples that I wanted to show. And I hope I answered your question.
Yes, absolutely. Do we have other questions from anybody else? Want to share something?
I see you out there. You have a question, Marilyn?
Somebody, Marilyn, did you have?
Can you hear me? Or am I?
Yes.
Okay. So, my question really is, what inspired you to start dancing? Because I know you through your art and through your dance. What got you interested in dance and movement?
Well, like I said before, I was in the theater. I wanted to go into the theater. And I'll never forget, I had a friend that encouraged me. I was so scared to start it, but I went into the theater. I don't know, I've always liked movement. I've always liked movement. And there I started teaching small dances and choreography. And just after a while, I just really just started my own style of dance. I actually studied with Herbie Maxey. I went to Joey, so I was taking Haitian dance. I was doing Haitian and modern dance. And I'll never forget, we were in rehearsals. I used to rehearse with them, and we were playing at the bar, the ballet bar, and the teacher said, you know, stop playing, stop playing. One day you're going to be teaching. And I laughed and I said, oh, right. And here I am today because I really developed a love for it. Bria.
Hi, Mr. Bria.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Bria.
Hi, good to see
Bria,
you.
the one that did the spoken word for the dance that was just showed. How are you?
Good, good.
You have a question?
She has, my mother has a question.
Hi, Uniqua. You look lovely as always.
Hi, how are you?
This is doing you well, even better. Hi, everyone. For the short period I've known you, Uniqua, you have been so calm and so pleasant and so nice to be around. How do you maintain such calm and beautiful spirit?
Well, I'll say this. Those that know me more, you know, I mean, I have my moments like everyone because I'm human. But I've really learned, especially in the last few years, to walk my talk. I have to. I have a lot of challenging things and I have a lot of successes like everyone. But I do meditate. My work is healing. My own work is healing for me. And also when I teach and do work, it's healing for me. It's very healing.
It's very inspirational to be around you.
Thank you.
You give up the great aura. I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think we have a question from Emily. Emily, are you there?
Just wondering for all the people who want
Hi, Emily. She was one of the dancers too. Hi.
you. Amazing work. It's so nice to see it.
Thank you.
And like, and also you can't really see how big they are until you went and stood up against them. And I was like, wow, those are really impressive. They don't look so big from where you're sitting, but really beautiful.
Some of the pieces that are on the slides, the pieces, they're 30 by 40 pieces.
Wow, nice, beautiful.
Yeah.
My question was, since we're talking about you and dancing, if you're offering any virtual dance classes that the listeners in right now. Oh, I see, these are amazing.
Yes, thank you for reminding me. So yes, I am teaching a dance class Saturday mornings, 11 a.m. on Zoom. You can, let's see, go to my Instagram or actually go back to the NoMAA page and the information will be there. You can go on to my, my website and I will put that information up there. There's also some other type of classes I'm trying to create online with art that's connected, that's engaging. We'll see. We'll see.
Cool.
My son keeps me busy too.
Oh, that's good. Good to see you.
Hi.
So those are your, oh, do we have another question? Oh, yes. Go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. It's a pleasure listening and seeing all those pieces, the energy that comes out of them and your inner feeling and energy is so positive that I really want to thank you because that's what we need, especially in the time that we are living now. And I really want to commend you. I love the usage of color, you know, the bright yellow and the orange. And that is really, for me, is very energizing. So thank you. And really, I love your energy.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going
sharing.
to invite you to Centro Cívico Cultural Dominicano because, you know, we do a lot of art and
yes,
we have a lot of your colleagues also collaborating with us. And I will look forward to have, you know, we're going to do a virtual exhibit on Monday, but I really look forward to collaborating with you.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I want to share something with you since you're here. So this piece was exhibited at the Arsenal Gallery. And I want to share a little bit of the sun with everybody. This is called the reflection of the sun. When you see the sun, when you feel the sun, when you think about the sun, what do you get from it? We know we get vitamin D, but what else do we get? So you're going to look at a reflection of the sun. You're actually supposed to see yourself in it.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. Oh my God.
That's
So
wonderful.
the reflection of the sun here is yourself.
Very good. That's right. Thank you.
Dr. Gelman.
That was my
Hello,
little show and
Mr.
tell.
Miller.
That's wonderful.
Show and tell.
I think we have, thank you, Marilu.
Thank you.
We also have a
Thank
question, I
you.
think, from Monica. Monica, did you raise your hand?
I did. Hold on.
Hi, Monica.
Hi, Uniqua. I'm sorry it's on my phone. So hold on. Hi, Uniqua, can you hear me?
Yes, I think we all can.
We can hear you.
I'm not sure you can see me. I've been kind of running around on my phone trying to tune into this whole thing. But I've been dancing with Uniqua for a while, and I've really been struck by her ability to bring so many different forms of art to bear on what we're doing and create a really kind of spiritually moving experience for the audiences. It's, it really brings people together. And I guess I was wondering, one thing you haven't talked about is the spoken word aspect, the poetry that you brought, which was really surprising to me. Like out of the blue, in one of our performances, suddenly you had created this kind of moving language. So how did that come about? Where did that come from?
That actually, the spoken word is actually a part of movement for me. That piece that they were showing on the video, When Words Are Not Enough, the young dancer was reciting it. I remember when we were in rehearsals, as you were moving, it was, as they say, on the fly, the words just came. When words are not enough, how do we communicate? How do we get through the tough, through the rough? We even did another piece, I think the summer before that, where there was spoken word. I see it, it's like a connection as movement to me, but verbal movement. I actually had a signer, someone to do sign language on that piece. I wanted to do it myself. I thought it was a bit much for me to try to do that. And I hope I answered your question. But it's like movement to me. Spoken word is like the movement. It's innate in it. It comes out and it flows.
Yeah, it just sounds like it comes out in response to how you are feeling about the dance and the music. It just pretty amazing. It's pretty wonderful. So thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, I agree. It's that sort of it's that sort of Renaissance woman quality, right? Sort of bringing everything together in this way, just to feed expression. It seems like such a timely talk right now. We're in our 10th week, and I think a lot of us are in that sort of reflection point. Some of us were in that sort of hyper productivity phase, and then some of us were sort of not sure what to do with ourselves, and now we're sort of into that kind of existential sort of meditative, what's next, where do we go from here, who are we kind of phase. And so it seems so timely to have work like yours, where we're sort of considering the universals, right, of our own existence and our own expression. So it's wonderful to sort of to listen to this tonight, sort of to be a part of this. Does anybody else have another question or comment before we move to our rapid fire question?
Uh-oh. You told me about that part. Okay.
I did. I warned you. Does anybody have a question? Here's the other thing. We're going to try something new. So I was thinking, since we do these every week, if somebody has an idea for a rapid fire question, go ahead and write it in the chat. And if we don't use it tonight, we can use it tonight. If we don't use it tonight, if you think about it later, send us a text, send us on Instagram, Facebook, email. let us know and we'll incorporate them in our next week's open studio, but feel free to chime in with any kind of rapid fire question you have. But before that, if you have any other question that's a little bit less sort of, you know, off the cuff, feel free to ask now. But if not, we'll go straight to it. Are you ready, Uniqua?
Ask me anything.
All right. That's the spirit. Okay. All right. So this is, I mean, I think we've heard a little bit about this, but, you know, give us a day in the life right now during COVID. Uniqua, what are you doing? What does your day look like?
Wow, in the morning, I do remote learning with my son. He's 15 years old next week. So we get up early, we do that. I actually split the week. So his father and I split the week, but that's what I do in the morning with my son. Then we go out. But basically when I'm with him, I wait for him to go to sleep to do my work. And that's basically what my day looks like. Planning, on the phone a lot.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds, it's a full-time job when you have your kids at home. It's a whole other world right now, negotiating all of these pieces and cooking. I feel like, you know, you don't realize how much people want to eat until you're sort of home all the time, right? Okay. All right. What are you looking most forward to post-quarantine?
I am looking forward to going back to teaching and either my new norm, I'm just going to leave it like that and drop the mic. I'm looking forward to going back to teaching and connecting and starting new beginnings. There are a lot of things that are happening.
That's in line with the positive.
There's a lot, yeah.
No.
Trust me, I tell people my story. 2019, I cried a lot, but as I cried, after a while, I had to strategize. You can cry and feel the emotions, but at some point, you grow or you go. And I learned to just strategize because I said, okay, this will be okay. I'm through this. Now let me strategize.
You grow or you go. So I'm not even going to ask you the rapid fire, what is your motto question, because you just answered it. And that's a good one. Okay.
You grow or you go.
I like that. Okay. What is your favorite place in New York City or uptown?
Ooh. You know, one of my favorite places recently before the COVID, I did something at Sisters Uptown Bookstore. I did something there. And I like going to eat. I like going to eat. I like going to eat with my friends. A lot of times it may be somebody from the class, you know.
Yeah, that's a ritual I think a lot of us miss.
I do miss it.
Yeah. Which historical figure do you identify with?
Ooh, wow. That is a rapid fire.
I told you, I warned you.
I want to say someone, I'm trying to see, maybe the name will come to me as I describe the person. Someone who is with fire, but humble and outwardly organized and yet inwardly unorganized. I'm not sure.
Okay. I'd like to meet that person too. That sounds like
I'm going to come up with that person.
Okay.
I am.
Okay, so you talked a little bit about your influences, but is there an artist, an artwork, an art movement that you have identified with or has changed your life or has moved you in some way?
You know, I do like, I don't do it, but for some reason I feel drawn to it.
I missed what you said. Did anybody else lose that? You like?
Surrealism.
Surrealism, okay.
Yeah, I haven't touched into that yet, but I find myself looking at that work a lot because it seems juxtaposed in a lot of ways. You might see like maybe an open face with a river coming out or something, but I like that.
You're drawn to that. Yeah. I'm always reminded of Frida Kahlo when I think of surrealism.
Yeah.
So when they mentioned to her, they said, you know, you're a surrealist. Abreu wrote the manifesto on surrealism, and he said, oh, you know, you're a surrealist. And she said, I don't know what you're talking about. This isn't surreal. This is real. This is my life.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
so I always found that so interesting. Okay, what is on your nightstand?
Okay, so all right, let's go to this table here. I have water, my son's toy, and I have my blender.
Blender?
Yes. Those that know me know I am big with the blenders. There's so much you can do with a blender. Smooth.
What do you? Smoothies?
I basically make a lot of smoothies in my blender.
Okay, that's great. What's your favorite smoothie? I'm just gonna throw that.
My favorite smoothie has avocado in it. It has it has my protein powder. It has honey in it, and basically that's it. And some water.
Can't go wrong with honey and avocado. There you go. Okay.
You gotta try
it. Sounds good. What is
I know it's
idea of perfect happiness?
Wow, my idea of perfect happiness, organization, health, family, organization, health, and family. I think that everything else follows. I mean, even no matter who you are, an artist, a nurse, a doctor, organization is a big one.
I think that's right. Right. Organization leads to productivity, right? And there's joy
and health leads to productivity and happiness.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Well-being.
That's right. Okay. And your last question: what do you consider your greatest achievement?
Oh, I have a few of them.
That's good.
One of my greatest achievements. Well, one of my greatest achievements was when I did go to school, and because I remember before I was going to get into college, I wasn't going to. I got a tutor and did the math. That's one of my greatest achievements. Being a mother. And I have to say, share this too, having sobriety. But you know, you got to read the book because the book is coming out. So the book is coming out soon. But
well,
I plan on writing a book.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
So what is this is a sort of memoir, an autobiography? What is your book about?
It's going to be memoirs, biography. I'm also going to have art pictures that are connected with words, metaphors. So I'm thinking of either, well, a biography or something more metaphoric.
Wonderful. Well, good. We look forward to hearing more about that. And to learning all about your global quilts, because I know that that's something that you're also hoping.
I'm really excited about that. Yeah.
Yes, and so that we look forward to, and all of these sort of public expressions that give us a little more insight into you and your process. This has been so wonderful to have you here, especially such an uplifting message and such beautiful art and so integrated and just really inclusive of so many different kinds of facets of life and sort of human existence. So we feel really, it was a real treat to be here to listen to you tonight. And if anybody else has another question, before I turn this over to Martin, feel free to ask. Does anybody want to jump in here? I think.
I also want to thank NoMA for having this platform. I want to thank all of you for your part. Martin for the early emails, for the early emails in the beginning, going back and forth and back and forth. Really appreciate it. I had an opportunity to speak about my art and share. And I'm here to people.
It's our pleasure to have you here tonight. It really is. And so on behalf of everybody, we thank you for sharing really your wonderful art with us tonight.
Thank you.
So I'd like to turn it over to Martin now, who I think has some final thoughts, some final words, and what we can expect going forward. Martin?
Yes, thank you. And thank you, Uniqua, and thank you to everyone for tuning in this evening. We want everybody to take a moment to please answer the 3 questions that Michelle is going to post on your screen right now. We do hear from you about tonight's open studio. And a couple of events coming up tomorrow evening, May 22nd at 7:30, Uptown Arts Teleconference with Manhattan Borough President Gail Brewer. Our thanks to Natalie Espino for joining us from Gail Brewer's office this evening. The Greater Harlem Chamber of Commerce and the Harlem Arts Alliance and Northern Manhattan Arts Alliance. That's at 7:30 tomorrow. The Inwood Strong poster contest deadline is next Tuesday, May 26th, has a $750 award. And finally, NoMAA's Census Coloring Contest deadline is May 31st. For information on those and other upcoming events, please visit artstroll.com. And we invite everybody to join us next Thursday, May 28th, for a glimpse into the creative process of artist Garry Grant, sponsored by the Juan Pablo Duarte Foundation. You can see GarryGrantStudio.com for a look at his work. Garry is spelled with 2 R's. And to everyone, we wish you a very safe and great Memorial Day weekend, and we look forward to seeing you at 7:30 next Thursday. Daria?
Excellent. Thank you, Martin, so much. We
It's been a
appreciate
pleasure.
that. Thank you so much, everybody. Please, if the poll didn't work, Zoom is very temperamental these days. I think it's exhausted like all of us. There is a link in the chat box. If you would be so kind as to take a minute to fill that out, we would so appreciate it. Good night, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
And we'll